Well, hello and how are you? It's me once again. Today is March the 3rd, 2015. This is blog number 31. Looky there, folks. We're just jumping and climbing the ladder, getting them all on up there. I'm going to try to keep up with them. Don't want to cut myself short. Don't want to throw things off by missing them. Missed that one, and that, threw everything off, got me off count and everything. But anyway, that being said, I am going to say, had a rough start this morning. You ever had one of them days? Well, being a quadriplegic and having to have a catheter, indwelling catheter is what I got, and it's not through my private area. It goes right into my body through my belly. It goes directly into my bladder, and it's called a suprapubic catheter. Well, there's a bubble inside that catheter, and there's a bubble inside on the end of the catheter that holds it down inside the bladder. Well, apparently it's been long enough for it to be changed that my bubble got down low enough in water pressure that it just decided it was going to pop out, because usually it's supposed to be a good 10 cc's, and if it's not holding 10 cc's, then it'll have a tendency to pop right out. So that's what I had to do, was to have that put right back in today when it came out. Had about, probably 5 cc's in it. So, whenever you down 5 cc's from 10, it's not very good to hold it in, because apparently it didn't hold it in. It came right out. And kind of scared me. It didn't scare me. It just kind of scared everybody around me. But I had some calmness going on, and we just stuck her back in there, just lickety-split, as though I just directed them on how to do it, and it went back in smooth and simple, and all things considered, it went quite well. Although it's one of those days, it starts out, a little different than most days do. So, there's some days that I have here that are just different from other days, and it's quite all right, though, because that just lets you know that life ain't just a everyday occurrence. It's not just you don't have the same old every day. You just get something different every now and again, which is good thing for me. I mean, at least I've got muscle spasm coming up. I can feel it. I can feel it in my joints and in my muscles, mostly in my butt. But anyway, let you know that your day's not just the same all the time. Life is not same old. And if you start getting in a rut, God will always wake you up and say, "Hey, here you go. Here's something different." He'll throw something different on your plate for a change, so that you've got something else that you're not used to having. So there you go. Well, I tell you what, I had a good chance to do this thing in the morning this morning, but I'm a procrastinator apparently. I should get up and get on here as soon as I can and get her done, but I don't. I try to wait for the end of the day, see if I got anything else to talk about. And, well, today I didn't really do anything much. I got the same old to talk about, except for the fact I did have that catheter pop out. But, like I said, went right back in, so that's nothing big for me. Now, if there's any you quadriplegic out there, and that catheter does pop out, one thing I just want to warn you, first thing is, don't panic, because if you panic, then you're then your caregivers are going to panic. And then once your caregivers panic, then you're not going to be in any situation because you got to keep them calm. If you're calm, they'll stay calm, and that's one of those things. I've had tendency to never overreact when something like that occurs, because if I overreact, then people get scared, and we don't want anybody scared, because that's just called the 911, and the old 911 people show up, and they like, well, I don't know what to do for you. We'll just ship you off to the hospital, and well, that's a bill that nobody needs to have to pay, if you know what I mean. I didn't really want to didn't want to ride an ambulance this morning anyway, because well, ambulance, that's just a wasted trip. Cost somebody somewhere $300 and some odd just for the ride, and I didn't really want anybody to have to pay for it, and so therefore I didn't. We just kind of took care of it ourselves, which is a good thing. So, how have you been doing today? I haven't gotten any real feedback yet on anything. I did get some feedback back, but it's nothing bad or anything. So, yeah, I wanted to thank Kim Bogue. I think it's pronounced Bogue. I'm hoping I don't want to mispronounce it, but anyway, I want to thank her for being a faithful watcher. And my dad, he's always on here too, John Briscoe, naturally, seeing how that's my last name. So I really want to let them know that I appreciate them constantly watching and liking the program. Diane, I appreciate you out there in O'Fallon or somewhere. I think it's out there somewhere. I know you're out west of here, but anyway, I'd like to thank you for keeping a faithful watching of the program. Even if that just lets people know that I know who's watching and I know who ain't. So if you don't keep liking it every day, I'm gonna have to. I won't be mentioning names unless you don't want me to mention your name. Now, see, I always ask permission first before I mention names. That way, I don't get in trouble, because I don't want anybody yelling at me for not mentioning for mentioning their name and them not wanting me to. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, that being said, here I am. It's 7 minutes into the program already. I can't understand why it's only 7 minutes into the program, but it is. I tried to do a song today, but I don't know. I don't know how well it would go. I mean, that's the catheter goes into my tummy and out through my mouth, but it didn't come out my mouth. It just went into my tummy. That's, kind of the worms. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, into your tummy and out your mouth. The worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, into your tummy and out your mouth. Anyway, it's the old catheter. Yeah, well, since I popped out, well, and oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. I'm so glad that, Diane, I was glad to see the fact that you, liked that post that I put on your page. Romeo, ha, 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 ha. Well, because, it was your house, and, well, I figured I'd better put a word out there to you, because I just thought that was the funniest thing, sometimes there's things that happen in your life that people just don't, you forget how funny these things are. I mean, I remember, being out there behind Wayne's gas station there and going after the horses and whatnot, and at some point in time, Spicy, was it Spicy? I don't know. Just didn't quite like me at the time, and kind of pushed me with his muzzle, and just kind of pushed me away from him. that was okay. It was fine with me. I didn't mind it. It just kind of caught me off guard. I wasn't really ready to be pushed, but you know how that goes. Every now and again, the horse just kind of doesn't cotton to you. And well, at that particular time, he wasn't cottoning into me. Anyway, yeah, I remember when I was in the Navy, I worked at the riding stables. I worked in their barn, cleaning out stalls and stuff so that I could ride free. And I would take my friends out and we'd go riding, and I rode expert horses, although I wasn't really an expert, but I did know how to ride. And you know, they don't judge the rider, they judge the horse. So if the horse is an expert, that just means that it can do a trail without anybody having to really worry about it. The only thing you do have to worry about is that horse cutting your trail ride short. And so I had a friend of mine, who was that? Sonny. Sonny went with us one time, and we were getting ready to cross the street. Well, when you get ready to cross the street, you had to dismount and just walk the horse across the street. Well, Craig got across there, and I got across there, and about the time, and Donnie, I think Donnie was there, and about the time, Sonny gets ready to come across the street, all you hear is clank, clock, 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 clock. And you look back, and Sonny's horse is gone. All he's got laying on the ground is the bridle, just laying there on the ground. And it was like it hadn't been tied enough, and his horse just decided it was time to go back to the barn. So we had to double saddle, me and Sonny, and we went down to the pen in the restaurant. We ate, and then we turned back around and got back up on horses and rode back up to the barn and said, hey, we lost one. And they said, yeah, he came back about an hour ago. That shows you what trail horses are like. You know, you just gotta take your pick and hope you get a good one. I remember out at Quail Ridge, though, we went riding out there, and me and my ex was riding together, and she wasn't real happy with me because my horse was a novice horse that time. It was a very high-spirited horse, and I had ridden enough to, know how to handle it, so I was okay at that point in time. But anyway, he was a kicker, and most of the other horses didn't like being around him because he'd fling that right foot up there, and he'd kick the horses beside you. And it was like, you can't get along like that. I mean, and then he'd just like to take off, and you'd have to hold him back, because if he just took off on you, he'd try to rake you off with tree limbs or whatever. He'd try to rake you into a tree. I remember that, too, whenever we was in the Navy. Them horses took off down the hill after we got across that street, and they were running hard, and that one I was on, tried to take my knee out of the stirrup on a vine. There was a vine hanging on the side of the trail, and I saw it coming, and I saw exactly what was in that horse's mind. He was like, I'm going to take this rider off, and I was like, reined him over to the left to keep him off of that rein, and off of that vine, and he almost bumped into Craig's horse, but that's okay. It was we made it out of there okay. It was fine, but well, I tell you what, that was a good time. I just thought about that. I remember riding horses quite a bit. I used to have a lot of fun riding horses. I got a few other stories about that too. I'll have to tell you. That'll be when I'm talking about my next door neighbors. I used to have several. I had several next door neighbors, and different ones we got along with different ways. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when we first moved out there was the Hovises, and that was Pat and Pete and Kevin, and I don't know where they're at anymore, and if they catch wind of this blog and yell at me for it, well, then I'll know. I'll know they're still around. I know they moved to Kennett, Missouri, or no, Fredericktown, Missouri. And I don't know if this is reaching out that far, but if it is, how you doing, Kevin? Alrighty then. Hey, I'm going to have to let y'all go because we're into that 15-minute time slot. And so I'm going to say, hello and how are you? God loves you and so do I. Have a blessed night. That Shenandoah said it to you. Goodbye.